Okay folks, it's radiator time here. What we want to do is this bottom one, you can see the metal's cut down and bent to clear it, so we're going to do something about the metal over here, but we're going to actually move it to here. We need it on the opposite side. This one's on the center, and what we're going to do is move it all the way over. I think we're going to put it right here, right up at the top, as high as we can get it. And I'm going to check and make sure. It may be here that I need it, but I think I can get by with it right there. But that's the plan. What we're going to do is I'll get this hose and old clamp off, but we're going to heat this one out of it, and we're going to do a lot of cleaning. We're going to cut this hole out. We're going to do a lot of cleaning around it, clean the piece up, and then we'll take some acid and put on it, and then we're going to tin it, and then we're going to try to solder it in. And the goal here, and the problem is you don't want to get any heat down here, because if you heat it and you release them cores from the tank, then you're in a bad spot. And so that's what we're going to do, and we're going to get at that. And you know, one of the main things on this is to keep everything as clean as you can. And I think I can, the way this is bent, the way it comes down and they've just got it bent out, I think I can maybe bend this out, come down at this corner and just bend the whole piece, and get the camera where I need it. Bend this whole piece right here up and out to give us more room in there. And the only bad part is it's so close to the cores, but we'll figure it out. We'll do it as we go. You know, the worst we can do is mess it all up, and then we'll just have to find another radiator. But I think we'll be all right. All right, let me get to work here. I'm going to go and get the air hose and blow everything off first, and we'll start taking her apart. Okay, we've got the bottom one and the top one off, and you can see I was real surprised the bottom didn't have a lot of solder around it, and almost like it would have been leaking, but we've got it off. This will get moved over to here, and the top one we've got off, and we're going to move it to there. But this is a little smaller than our hose, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find another old radiator that's no good out here that has a bigger one in it. We're actually going to take it out and try to put it in there, so be a good time to change it. Let me see what I can find, and we'll get back to work on it. Okay, we've got one here, an old Chrysler radiator that is no good, and we're going to see if we can take it out of there real quick. Okay, we're actually going to scratch out where we want to put our fitting at. I want to keep it up as high as I can to keep the heat away from the bottom here. And all I'm going to do is just hold it on there where I want it, and put a good scratch around it. I'm into some numbers here on the radiator, but they're really not going to hurt anything. But I think what I'll do is I'll take an old screwdriver and sharpen it up, and we're just going to cut this out like using it as a chisel. And we've still got to get this cleaned up too. So, all right, show you more. Okay, got this one in it, and you notice it's sort of a trough. It's bent down a little bit, but that's actually what I want, and that'll keep any of my solder from trying to run away from it. And I'll get it cleaned up and straighten it up a little bit, but that's going to work out just fine. We'll get it in there good and tight, and then we'll go from there. Okay, we've got our piece cut out to plug this off. I'm going to go ahead and get some acid on it, get some heat on it, and go ahead and tin it. And tinning is basically when you coat one surface with solder. And once you get one surface coated, you coat the other surface, and once both of them are tinned together, it's not a problem getting the the solder to flow between the two. But we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we're going to do our hole over there, and then our top will be done. We'll get on the bottom. Okay, that's tinning where I've covered the whole, well, it covered itself just about in the center, but where you cover it, and you know that you're getting a good bond between your copper and your tank. Now the tank's brass. I'm actually using copper as the hole, so I mean you can put them together no problem. And we'll try to get some solder or get some acid around the outside here. As long as it's hot, get it hot enough but not too hot, it should flow really good. And you can tell the difference if it's going to lump up, or once you get it hot enough for it to flow. Now we're going to try to get some solder in between the two. I'm going to let it cool a minute, and then I'm going to push down on this side because it's up just a little bit. But I'm going to go ahead and wait and let it cool off good. I don't want to break anything loose. And then I'll probably maybe hit it with a brush a little bit and try to get some of the discoloration you see, which is some of the flux, get it off, and then we'll reheat it and do it again. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a professional at this by any means, and this is probably not the right way to do it. This is just the way that I do it. And I was going to get Charlie to do this, but Charlie's got things going on for that he's working on, and I don't want to bother him with it. So there's no use getting somebody to do something that you can do yourself. I mean, I can mess it up really bad, but you can always fix it. Not a big deal. So it's still a little hot. Now, it's actually sealed good, but you can see it's built up really good here, and you can still see the line around there. And a lot of that's got to do with it, there was a little bit of a gap there, but I'm still going to try to fill it up a little bit. I don't want it to be too thin because, vibrations, it might crack. So we're going to hit it one more time. And something I wanted to tell you too, that while it's on my mind, this Perkins diesel that I put in there, that 4-cylinder 236 is what it is. That actually was a factory option in a D D20, which is D as in dog, but a D20 pickup that Chevrolet made overseas. So if you want to look one of them up on the on Google, you'll see that that was actually a production engine, and the darn truck looks a lot like a Ford Ranger, but it's actually bigger than a S10 and smaller than a full size. All right, and that'll work. So that's done. We're gonna get on that hole. I'm not gonna show you all of it. I don't want to bore you to death, but we'll let this cool and I'll clean it up a little bit, and then we'll move on to this one, and then I'll show you some more on the bottom one when we get there. All right. Yeah, I figured I'd bore you a little bit anyway. Probably some old school plumbers out there laughing at me. I don't blame them, I'd be laughing too. And for anybody who don't know, this is just solder paste, which is really nothing but an acid. And years back now, I used straight battery acid, which is, if you buy a motorcycle battery, you know, they give you a container of it, or they used to, where you could fill it up yourself. And I used to use that, and to me, it worked way better than this actual paste, but I don't have any anymore. And it's been years since I've done any soldering, so. We just want to build it up now. We've got it closed in good. Build our little cage up that we got. And you know, the key thing on this is controlling the heat. Knowing when to put the torch on it and take it back off. And if you leave it on too long, you'll cause problems. If you don't have it on long enough, then you're not going to melt your solder. I believe that's good to go. So we'll let that cool off and clean it up a little bit, and then we'll go to the other end there. And of course, there's our patch. Like I said, it's not the prettiest thing, but it's fine. And same with this. I mean, it's not beautiful, but it'll work. Clean it up a little bit. So we're going to move on to the bottom now and get the other one done, and then we'll be about ready to put the radiator in here shortly. Okay, I got this cleaned up, bent this down a little bit where we can get in there, and I've got to cut the slot for it. Not a lot of room in there, but it actually solders on the flat, so we'll be fine there. And got our plate made to cover this one, so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to wire brush that first, and we'll tin it and get it soldered in there good, and then keep moving on. Okay, we got this one soldered in good. Again, not beautiful, but it'll hold. And now we're going to cut this out and go ahead and get our last piece done here. Alright. Alright, all together. Now we're going to see if we can find some short hoses and 4 clamps and a maybe something to plug it off, because I want to go ahead and put water in it and I'm going to pressure test it. And then we'll really know whether it's good or not. And kind of scary down here, because that's a hard one to do, but if not, you know, we can melt it off and start over. Not a big deal. Alright, so you want to get her hooked up. Alright, well, I really didn't need a pressure test. We're definitely leaking down there at the corner, so I'm going to get the water out, and then I'm going to heat and take that completely back off, and we're going to try her again. It's about normal. I mean, you know, you're going to have stuff happen. That's kind of a hard one to do, and we'll just have to do a little better job this time. But what I did, I actually got a shifter knob in this end, and on the top hose I've got a 3/4 drive extension. So just something to plug it off. I mean, it really didn't matter as long as it would clamp good. We're going to go ahead and try this one again, and we'll see what we can figure out. I'm pretty sure, I'm almost positive that's where it's leaking from, is around my solder joint down there at the bottom. So if not, we'll still fix it, but we'll get her figured out. All right, show you more. Okay, I think we got it this time, or at least we got it without it under pressure. As you can see, the water level's completely up, full. I'm going to actually tilt this way a little bit so I can make sure we get water on this front hose. The only water that's there is what I spilled and stuff. There's a little bit dripping out the overflow because I had it a little bit too full, but I'm going to put a pressure test on it and see how long it takes for it to drop down. Well, hopefully it won't drop down, but we'll see what we can do. Alright, you have to excuse my gauge being a little bit dirty in there. It got wet one time. But you can see I've got it, well, I got it where the green marker is anyway, where it's supposed to be. And I've seen it's dropping off a little bit. I'm going to see where we got a little leak at somewhere. Okay, I think it's around the hose here. Let me tighten up the hose and see if that takes care of it. Them hoses had a little rust on them, and that's never a good thing. Okay, I don't hear it now. It's not dropping now either, so we'll pump her back up to the green mark there. Alright. Seems to be holding good, not dropping at all, so got no leaks whatsoever. And that thing's so daggone dirty I can't see how many PSI it is, but it's on the green, so it probably, I don't know, it might be 15 PSI. Something like that, but it's not moving at all. We got it done right that time. Our patch is not leaking anywhere, neither one. So we're good to go. I'm going to move this thing up about an inch and a half, so we can get to that, and I know we can get water in it and it'll, you know, hold fine now. So alright, I'll show you when I get it in. Okay folks, got the radiator in. I cleaned it up, put some barbecue grill paint on it, just some flat, and then I didn't polish this or anything. I just brought it back to the copper, natural looking copper, so I kind of like that, so I'm going to leave it just like that, and I'm not going to polish it or anything. It's looking good. I've got it up, I've shut the hood, it shuts fine, everything's good there. Our hoses are going to work out fine. This one's kind of long because I've got to go all the way from right here down to the bottom, so I may put an elbow and then maybe a solid piece and then come up. And we ran into the same thing on the Ford rat rod, so I may not have a hose long enough, so we can come up with something. The other thing, height wise, about level right here where you can see where this comes out at, and you can see how high this is, and I don't like that. It's a little bit higher than I want. I don't think I've got any other neck that's going to come out this way that's going to be lower. I mean, I'll look, but I kind of doubt it. But I really want, you know, I'm definitely going to turn it around, but I really want this either as low as I can get it, or I'm going to have to drill a hole and tap a bleeder in right here. Because anytime that you got any part other than your radiator cap up the highest, when you fill it up, you can get an air bubble in here that won't come out. And the only way to get it out would be to either take the hose off and fill it from here, or to put a bleeder in here. Now a bleeder would be no problem because we could, you know, just drill it and tap it. It's plenty thick enough. Put a pipe thread bleeder, or you know, we could even do it where we could take it off and fill it from right there, and just to finish the fill off to make sure we don't have any air in it. But we'll do one or the other. You know, if this was steel, I'd cut it and re-weld it, but it's cast. I don't want to be messing with it too much. And but we'll get that off, get it turned around, and we'll go ahead and get the bottom hose made up. Got the belt on, but I don't have the alternator on yet. We'll get it on, and we should be able to, we get that, we'll be able to start it up, and let's sit here and run a few minutes and see how it does. You know, the fan is, it's lower than the top, so I mean, we don't have to worry about anybody hitting it. The front, up here, I'm actually going to make a piece. I'll bend it up. That comes in here and probably comes up at an angle to the bottom of this radiator. The reason I want to do that is when this hood's shut, you know, there's no air coming through it. All the air is coming from the bottom, so when it comes up, if we can direct it just a little bit back that way, I mean, it may help a little bit, but we can get the air to flow through a little bit better. And you know, you don't want to be pulling air out of here anyway, because it's going to be hot air from the engine and everything. You'll be pulling fresh air out from the grill, and that way you're not trying to recirculate hot air. So we'll block that off and take care of that. So alright, let me get at it and I'll show you more. Okay folks, we're going to make a piece to go between the two hoses for the bottom radiator hose. Just cutting a piece of solid stock here. We're going to bore it out and turn it down and make it into sort of hose bars on each end so the hose will stay on good. So we'll get her cut and get her tucked up in the lathe, and I'll show you more. Okay, here's what we've got. The hose will slide over and the clamp will go here. Just got to do the other end. I'm going to take it out and flip it around. You can do that with this because it's not that important for it being, you know, exact. I still got to bore the hole in the center, but we'll knock that out real quick. And then I don't know if my boring bar is close to being going through all the way, but I might have to double bore it, which is not a problem either. You know, this don't have to be perfect. It's just for water. That's all it is. All right, get back at it. Okay folks, here's our piece we turned out, 6.5 inches long, and what I did was go 625, I'm sorry, 1/625, and then down to 150 on each end. That way I could, you know, still get the hose on, but you never have to worry about it coming off. You don't have to worry about it corroding or rusting. So this will go up at one end of the hose and out the other, and we'll put some clamps on it, and that part's done. So we should be able to finish up our bottom radiator hose now. Alright, 3 more. Okay folks, here's the bottom hose on the radiator. There's our piece we made, and running right up into the top. So we're good to go there. That won't give us any trouble at all. Fan clears it just fine. We've got more than an inch between there. So now we'll go to the top one and try to get it finished up. Okay, we got the top hose done now, and you can see I actually threaded a hole here for this fitting, and that's just a pipe thread, so plug. So we'll put some thread tape around it, but we're going to go ahead and get it filled up first. You know, I can probably use it as a bleeder, but I mean, I may go ahead and fill some of it up from there, you know, just to bleed the air off. But I'll probably go ahead and pour some water in it there once I get it up in the radiator. And all we got to do now is I'm going to throw the alternator on long enough just for the belt to run, and we'll get some water in it and fire it up. Alright. Okay, fan's hooked up, water's in it. I pulled this out after I put the cap back on and filled it up, so I'm going to try to start it up here. that should do it. I will we'll put a pressure test on it with the pressure tester just to make sure I don't have any leaks, but I think everything's going to be fine. You know, the radiator come out real good, and I probably will put an overflow tank. I just got to come off of that pipe, maybe down low, and because I don't, you know, that saves you from having to put, we'll add water anytime. Overflow tank, when anything that overflows goes into the tank, and then when it cools down, it sucks it back into the radiator. So, you know, it's just less hassle to have to worry about checking the water. You know, of course, it's not bad to check it, but you don't have to check it as often. Let me see. Oh, yesterday when I started this thing up, and it sounded like it hissing, and then it popped, and then it went to running right, and it was really bothering me what it was, and I figured it out. When I built this manifold, if you remember right, I made 2 pieces to go over top of the exhaust ports, and I actually made them out of cardboard, and that way when I tack welded everything together, it wouldn't you know, get any slag or anything like that into the port, the exhaust port. And when I took the manifold, the bracket off, and they actually sort of stuck to the paint there, so I didn't think nothing about it. When I bolted the manifold back on, they were still on there. So what we was hearing was the compression or the pressure, or exhaust pressure, trying to come out, and then it finally popped that cardboard. And the reason I knew that it done it, it was like a cereal box material. I revved it up one time and I seen paper come out the exhaust, and I knew something was going on. So that's what it was. But it had me worried. It was almost like there was a valve stuck in it. But anyway, we got a cooling system now, so we'll keep moving along, and we'll have it before it's over with. I appreciate everybody watching. Bye.